this is a very weird opener. And I've a couple of times checked in with the guides to really see it. Is this where I'm supposed to start off? And the consensus seems to be yes. So here we go. A little bit of a backstory. When lately, videos of a dog rescue guy, he actually just goes and sits with dogs in the kennel at the rescue place or at the animal shelter. It's animal shelters, you know, it's where animals have their intake, you know, most are really traumatized because they've gotten lost or they've been abandoned or whatever it is. That, you know, most of them are very freaked out, and this guy just goes in and sits with them, and videotapes it, how they respond to him, and what he can do to keep them from being afraid. And so I started watching these things. They popped up in my, and I don't know why, but suddenly there they were. And I think it's called Sitting with Dogs. And so yesterday, I'm sure prompted by one of these things I saw, I was talking about the animal in the kennel. And by kennel, I really meant in the cage at not even a rescue. They hadn't made it to the rescue point. They're at the, when they first are found, where they go. So there may be something. These videos, the dog was sick. It couldn't gain weight. It was emaciated. Obviously hadn't been cared for in many ways. So they thought, well, this is just a malnutrition situation where they weren't being fed enough. Anyway, they discovered finally, I guess they x-rayed the dog to see if there was a blockage, a physical block, and it was a peach pit in the intestine. And they had to wait for this dog, with the assistance of, poo medicine, to pass the peach pit. And then the dog could eat and immediately began to gain weight. And so there's something in in the peach pit image. And I think it's significant that what was blocking was a seed. And probably had been gobbled up because, in fact, this dog had been abandoned, was running wild, was not being fed, had 101 indicators that they were a mess, partly because they'd had this blockage, also all the bad things that had happened, they'd been abandoned and so forth. So this guy sits there and tells the dog, this isn't your fault. This is a fluke of circumstance or something that happened to your people or, whatever it is, it's not your fault. And we've got you now. I just love that. I guess that's why I'm watching the videos. It's just watching some being come out of trauma to the point where they can take a treat, they can come out of the corner and start to relate. And Rue doesn't much like the videos because there's a lot of dog barking, and she was pretty traumatized by a rescue that I had a few years ago who had not fared well in a shelter, let's put it that way. So one more. Passing the peach pit. I must have a really juvenile sense of humor because I laughed at that over and over again this morning. Okay, here we go. That's like trying to pass the mental peach pit. 'Cause, you know, this is a fluke of circumstance or something that happened to your people or, whatever it is, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. And then the dog could eat and immediately began to gain weight. And so there's something in is something that's, blocking this person's ability to understand or even perceive the messages that are coming to them. There's one of these ancestor birds shouting right in this guy's ear. And he's like, what? It's as if the peach pit is in his ear. And there's, again, this figure of the person way in the background. So physical distance may have something to do with it. In any case, this person does not understand, but nevertheless, these things keep trying to connect. It's almost like a Mercury retrograde. Mercury, that was real. Mercury being the sign of communication, it rules Virgo and Gemini. So when it's in retrograde, because it's the ruling planet, it may affect those signs more, or it may just affect the person's ability to process information or feel grounded. We had that yesterday, this sort of out-of-body experience. And not a comfortable energy at all, Five of Swords. And then traditional Rider-Waite does not look like this. But the meaning is in many ways the same. A clash in terms of communication or understanding. There's a holdup. There's some kind of non-action. Because this is a card of deep feelings, Piscean energy. Somebody who's really steeped, almost like the tea bag, steeped in feelings. And the person on the other end of the line doesn't understand it, can't process it. It's almost like I don't speak that language, that, language of the heart, of the mystery of the heart. There are all these rune signs around, in the water, in the feelings energy. It's like, how do you decode feelings? How do you put them into speech? In what way does thinking get in the way of feeling? We had that yesterday, Judgment card. It's really a card of ascension. And it's interesting because this is going steeping, to get the epiphany, holding still long enough to take the time to, be steeped in your feelings. And then the ascension. And the idea of down and up are really, these are always going like this. Archetypal energy of something that really allows us release. Judgment card. And the movement, once this time of suspension is up, the movement is in the psyche, almost like to a higher chakra point, or, energy. And they're in a cycle like this. It isn't really cause and effect here between this, emotional steeping and the ascension. It's also kind of a prayer, this judgment. This person is both I wanted to say hanging on and letting go, but that's not quite right. In any case, let's see, 5 of Swords, 7 of Pentacles. That's taking the time to grow something. Pentacles speak to time and to growth and to attention, to 3D energy. How do you bring something into, within reach, that you're able to touch, that nourishes you? It has to do with the peach pit. So the mental abstraction. It's almost like when the mind is offline, these big energies of the psyche activate. And the analytical mind really doesn't get it. It's almost irritating to this person in daily life. What is this language I'm supposed to decide, How do I decipher this, these rune stones? Well, 7 of Pentacles to 6 of Pentacles. Grow it and share it. Grow enough in security, in authenticity, in, the ability to stay grounded over times of change. It's about growing into your authentic self so you can share authentically with somebody else. Somebody's learning how to do this. And, if we're talking about sort of learning a language, there's that period of time, when people are talking, if you're suddenly dropped into a different country and you don't speak the language, it can feel like this. Just like, I'm isolated because I don't speak that language. And I think the universe is schooling this person. Be still, listen, Accept the blessing of this thing into your life. Take the time, to learn how to do it. Because then there's the opportunity for conversation and exchange, and over time, this will happen. There's a hold up now, and it's counseling a kind of patience, because the payoff, the energetic payoff, is really something of great value to you in your life. It's worth spending the time. And I'm not sure this is you. World card. A card of the next level. It can be a card of Capricorn. Having graduated to the next level. I had that written down somewhere. The World card, the great teacher, Saturn, Lord of Karma. Somebody's sort of able to pass through the portal now because they've accepted who they are. They've worked hard. Ironically, this passivity is hard work. And it's not passivity really, but it's not, pumping it's where the momentum, you come to that still point and there's an epiphany. And it's uniting you with, the eternal energies. But here we are living in time. and in order for something to grow, it has to be nurtured. They keep bringing me back to the peach pit. The peach pit is the seed. Look how many seeds there are here. Root chakra are blockages that have to do with our ability to accept who we are. Pentacles energy. The fact that we're still a work in progress, 7 of Pentacles. We're still learning how to share, how to be authentic. But there's a huge upgrade ahead. It's like you're right at the threshold. The next sign we're going to move into is Capricorn. And I think, meanwhile, there's a caution, or not a caution, but a advice, don't quite have the word for it, but to kind of conserve your energy in a way. Don't be prematurely trying to pluck the fruits, because this is still growing. Be patient, take time. And in this exchange, we see the infinity symbol, this figure 8. It's about giving and receiving. It's always about that. Receiving from the universe, receiving from each other. That's kind of the, it's almost like this is the coin you put in the turnstile in the subways. I mean, they probably all work on cards now, but, this is the coin to the ferryman who allows you to cross over the big river. It's admittance to this, on the level of psyche, on the level of deep, as far as you can go inside. This brings you to the next. It's almost like a cervix. This brings you to the next chapter, the next stage. Again, it's under judgment, which is sort of the same ilk of energy. Ilk? It's the same idea. New life, passing through the portal. And on 6 of Pentacles, 2 of Wands. Remember I said something about it, it's still growing? This is a decision to be made about which way to go, but it's in the future. This person's making plans. It's like mapping how to go forward. Wands energy is directional. It's the preparation stage. It still requires a little bit more time, patience, steeping, the processing of feelings. Because it's not easy to understand with your analytical brain. You really need to, we get that just again and again. Is it this one? Okay, on the World card, last card in the Major Arcana is the 7 of Swords. That's not a great energy. It can be a card of lying, of deception, of sneakiness. It certainly, in a way, dovetails with this. Like, I don't understand. I don't know how to decode this. I don't want to admit I don't understand. So I'm just going to split. And I think if those are the same people, the fact that they split and are on their own somehow highlights the way in which the problem with communication lies with them. You could be dealing with an air sign. You could be dealing with a Capricorn, or B, Capricorn, Pisces. The signs don't matter so much, not to me. It's the energies that the sign represents that interest me. Okay, on Five of Swords, and fives indicate a need for change, and look at that, Five of Cups. That's the hurt, that's the loss. This person doesn't understand what happened, so now they're trying to process the loss. The Cups energy, the feelings energy, Five of Cups, Hangman. And you process a loss, you know, that's how we grow up. That's how we learn about life. I'm hearing it's a hard luck life. But there's some need to slow down here. And I think there's a need to understand Five of Swords, not only what you feel, but that you feel. I think this person somehow felt like that wasn't their language. You know, I speak the language of logic. And they may have come into contact with somebody who is very much willing to feel. So it produced this kind of, you know, how do we do this? Maybe connected in 5D, but we come into 3D and it's a mess. All the minor arcana cards. I mean, not all of them, but we do have Five of Cups, Five of Swords, Seven of Swords. That's pretty harsh. Tell me about a Judgment. And somebody might be moving beyond a stage into the next iteration of themselves, you know, this higher version of themselves. King of Swords. I'd say that's spot on. Because the sword energies, right? This one is clear. Also, not necessarily great at communication. I mean, that sounds ironic because it's sword energy, which is all about speech and understanding. But there's a way in which King of Swords steps back to understand. They analyze. They're a bit up in their head. You know, I don't speak that language, and in this the wires are down. But I see the downed wires almost as a liberation. Like, didn't I say something about that? When you take away the logic from somebody, they are forced, or not forced, but they're liberated to do this. To learn about the you know, of the heart-to-heart communication, this kind, where you don't have to fake it. I think that this person, because they didn't understand the language of feelings, you know, it made them feel, you know, this wasn't the right kind of terrain for them. They had to go maybe back into I think they felt like everything they said was a lie because they didn't understand the language. So, you know, it's almost like that. There's a fairy tale where the person tries to talk and the toad comes out, you know, the mean thing or the inappropriate, the person just can't find the words. Is it this? Yeah, Six of Cups on Hangman. This is a really important relationship. Oh, it's another one of those outliers. You know, the mini deck. It's the mini deck. I went through I don't know how these guys keep popping back into the deck, because I swear I looked again for this happened yesterday. Six of Cups, card of the soulmate, return, perhaps unexpectedly. The Six of Pentacles, Six of Cups. Wow. So that's on Hangman. Processing feelings about a soulmate. And this person may have not understood, Five of Swords, how it slipped through their fingers. You know, like they didn't get it fast enough. A sword energy is pretty fast, but it's like I didn't learn the language fast enough. You know, so everything I said, things I might have said that were sincere, came out seeming like a lie or sounding like a lie. Because the intent was to share with the soulmate. They wanted this next level thing. Both parties did. Six of Pentacles. So tell us about the Six of Pentacles. Something in 3D. An equal exchange. High Priestess. I think it might begin as kind of a telepathic exchange. Or it might begin in 3D and end up growing Pentacles energy into a kind of telepathic exchange. Because these people really are connected, maybe over lifetimes. And has there been trouble? Yes. Five of Swords, Seven of Swords, particularly in the realm of communication, because somebody felt like they didn't speak the language. But it's almost as if this telepathic, this is High Priestess, a card of high intuition, and look, it's coming in right through her crown chakra, their crown chakra. There's a card of Cancer. Feelings, right? Coming into 3D. It's almost like how do you bring the language? How do you speak the language of the mystery of feelings, you know, with real words in real time? How do you talk about it? How do you share in 3D what you know on, you know, which is all about the unseen and the archetypal, and we again have the rune stones up here in the corner. The mystery of connection. And High Priestess carries with that card the implication of, I can't talk about it. You know, I can experience it, I can feel it, but it doesn't really translate into words. And I think that there's a learning process here that is underway, Seven of Pentacles, to allow for this exchange, both in 3D and psyche to psyche. Psyche to psyche. Okay, I think that's it. Where's the button? The peach pit. Plant it in it and it will grow. Six of Pentacles, High Priestess. I mean, the communication is going to take off. It's not only going to be something that can be expressed in words, but the ability to express in words what's beyond words. High Priestess, I can't talk about it. But there's a way in which these two will communicate through the astral plane and will begin to understand together. Six of Cups, Six of Pentacles, the mystery of what can't be spoken. I think this is a highly spiritual connection, and that both people have been like, huh? You know, there is a decision ahead. Somebody's planning. Maybe on the big move. And I think it's a move, not a physical move, a move in the psyche. I'm ready. You know, I'm ready to get, I'm ripe. I've passed the page. Love you guys. See you next time.